And I and Jacob, we've been discussing back end, we're having lovely conversation. I must tell you before we go fully into the conversation that I've been having very good time with Jacob, sharing from his wealth of experience, his ideas and all that. So I can say that he has something very valuable for us today. So basically, if you are joining us today, thank you so much for joining us here on the Last Giddy Farmer podcast, where we have discussion on pertinent issues in the agriculture, helping people to understand what is going on and also to be able to have information, knowledge to fully participate in the sector. Right. So today we'll be talking about uh, cocoa waste to convert it into valuable inputs and products, to help bridge the imports uh, that we are doing and also to help ensure local capacity and sufficiency. Right. So I'll just read this some stats today so you understand where we are going to. Nigeria is one of the leading producers of coconut in the world, although we are the 19th on the global rank, but it's still much here. We could be more because we are not producing productively. The numbers of our coconut trees, you know, is dropping, right? So, and while at that, currently our capacity in tons is about 270 metric tons, right? And we could do about by 2030, that's 500 metric tons according to report. But the problem is that now we are importing $20 million worth of cocoa products. There are a lot of countries that are not doing production as much as we, and they are exporting and seeing meaningful proceed, right? So why can't we? What's the problem? And today, the cocoa peat market in Nigeria is worth about $5 million. We end up importing cocoa peat. So here today we have an innovator, a problem solver, helping to address this gap, and is worth celebrating and worth discussing. So his name is Jacob Oluwayomife, and Abiodun, and I'm going to be, reading his profile out shortly. Jacob, when I wanted to create this profile, I didn't know which one exactly to use. There are a lot of brilliant stuff about you there. So I just looked through your LinkedIn profile, your page and a post, and I saw one that actually befit this purpose. So I'm going to read it to you. Don't be surprised, right? So according to Jacob himself, he's saying that I'm a young, smart, courageous, disciplined, focused, goal oriented, motivated, inspiring, vibrant, prayerful, tenacious, and many more. I bear a powerful Yoruba name, Oluwayomife, pronunciation Oluwayomife, meaning God chose to love him. God chose him also to do something great in the sector. So, with utmost humility, I see myself as the best in whatever I do, and not because I am intelligent or smart, but because God chose to love me, and I do not stop doing my best to go after opportunities that can elevate me and make me move forward. So I am from a humble home, which makes giving up never an option, right? And I work days and nights to pull through every penny that drops from me. So I started freelancing 100 level as a graphic designer, took side also in 200 level, and took my lecturer student tutorial. So I also rendered janitorial services to lodges off campus. Later got into digital marketing, project writing for my colleagues in 300 level as additional side also, right? Then started data analysis with Python and Excel in 400 level, and got to intern with Guinness Nigeria PLC. So I raised funding on LinkedIn for the first time in 500 level for my final year project, and I got full support from a blessed man who found my project worthy of his company support here on LinkedIn. I have, in the last 4 years after graduation, seen life differently. I've learned, relearned, unlearned several times, experienced divine favor of God countless times, faced betrayal, rejection, acceptance, smile all through, right? So feel free to check out what I'm building with Coconuto, or visit www.coconuto.africa.com. I say that it's open to conversation. So, Jacob, we have a very brilliant profile here, talking about yourself, your journey, it's inspirational. And, I'm happy about that. So without much ado, I'll go to the first question of the day, right? And I want to say thank you so much for coming on this platform. I trust we'll be having an interesting conversation here today. So let me start with our conversation from LinkedIn. That was where you all started, that we connected from. LinkedIn is such a great place to connect and build and interact. So, you made a post of your pitch at the Fuse show Stanbic IBTC, which was brilliant, by the way. However, the judges did not, scale you through to the next round. So I like to know how this made you feel, how the experience since then sharpened your communication of coconut's value to investors, and what entrepreneur lessons on resilience have you applied since. You seem to have this very rich perspective on and recalibration from rejection and tragedies rather. So you had an accident. I'm so sorry that that happened to you, and I wish you speedy recovery. That grounded Coconuto, right? And also lost a strong pillar of your vision. But in spite of this, you scaled operations from 20 kg to 200 kg weekly, stock 2 tons of coconut husk waste, producing 1.5 tons of cocoa peat. You grew your community as well significantly. You developed Coconuto market space and expanded into cocoa fiber sales, launched cocoa drink it, and generated over 2 million naira in the revenue. Jacob, this is impressive. How have you done this? Let me know. Just tell me, please.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you so much. So just like you have said, thank you for that profile you read. I mean, yeah, I didn't even know that my recent post can be something so like even me, I'm inspired by what you read about me. Okay, so the fuse competition was actually it was just one of the numbers that I would say has been the rejection, right? It has always not been rosy right from time. I've been in several accelerator program competitions, and getting to the fields, that episode that required me to do that pitch came on a day where
Oh,
challenge of my health. Also, at that time again, I was also faced with the challenge of my business having a bit of issue while in the house, while on that show. So when I was asked to pitch, I got to the pitch. I'm like, okay, this is what we do. I mean, to suit the to meet the theme of that day, and I tried my best to see that I can convince the judges. But the drug I took that morning, I took a drug just for my health and everything. I was just so really, I was just tired, weak. Even on the podium, I was just trying my best to communicate, but then I couldn't deliver. And there are amazing guys with me on that competition that are doing so well. So I knew that there was a problem. But then, I mean, it's just one of the numbers. It does not stop me. It does not limit me. Neither does it say that whatever I'm doing is not the best. But then I could not communicate it as perfect as what the judges wanted. So it's just saying that no matter how prepared you can be, you most probably need to first be sure of your health. Health is important. I mean, had taken serious check on my health, I might have spoken with the organizers that I need some time, even if it might require an elimination. But then I know they wouldn't have eliminated me. They might just give me time to rest before going to pitch, because I didn't rest before going for that pitch. So your health is very important. And secondly, also know how to pass the message shortly. I time when I could have just communicated what I needed to do rather than going through all the numbers and the stories. I could have just said it as fast as possible and take my leave. But then I was having to just module everything, use the words that were not. So it's just saying that life cannot always be at your own win all the time, right? But then just know how to manage it. Before that competition, I was at the DBN. There was a DBN pitch competition, pitchathon, where we made it down to the finals, and that was even the top of it. I think I didn't post that on my LinkedIn, and we were meant to, in fact, out of 5 or 6 of us, I was expecting that, oh, these guys should consider us, only for us to see that we didn't even make it to the top 3. So it's just saying that whatever we are doing, we know we are doing it right, but then investors might not be convinced based on their own reasons, right? Based on their own reasons, based on what they are looking for. It's not all the time you always have to be the winner. Sometimes when you fail, you just don't. What should give you joy as an entrepreneur that I've learned is what you are doing, the solution you are providing. is it meeting the target you have for it? Is it making the impact? That's what gives me joy. Am I making the impact? Am I meeting the target? Am I doing it right? Am I building? Am I scaling? If I am not, then there's a problem. Or if I am, then if investors are not interested, so far we are doing it, we'll make the money we are looking for. So it's just part of the journey.
Thank you so much, Jacob. That was really, really rich, and I took a lot of points from that. That I myself can apply to my work life and also others, the audience listening to us. And like you said, health is very important. Right? We see a lot of people that they are burning their health to actually make something, and at the end of the day, they get sick and they are not able to enjoy the fruit of what they've labored for. So, may that not be our portion. So, we have to take um, serious value of our health, serious care for our health, right? And also, you learn from your mistake. You said precision is very important. You know how to, digest everything into beats, for precise delivery and for the audience and also the potential investors, the judges to, you know, be able to materialize in a very short time. And I like that you have this sort of internal compass. You are not really driven by external validation. You just want to, you have your goal, you have what you are aiming at. Am I scaling? Am I impacting the right people I want to be impacting, right? So if I'm doing this and the external validation is not coming, I'm still fine, right? So it helps to, we are talking about physical health now, and now it's mental health. So this helps
Mental health.
with mental health. So mental health and physical health helps with general well-being of an individual. So it's something to take note. And also that I like that you mentioned that it's not every time you have to be the winner. Many times you might not win for one reason or the other. Maybe the judge does not understand what you are presenting, or they have a different perspective about what you are presenting. So at the end of the day, you still have to take your head and move on. And also that um, just be committed to what you are doing, irrespective that anything might come your way. But if you have this sort of resolute drive and you have this higher calling and purpose, you will always have a way out. So thank you for answering that first question. Absolutely fine. I just want to mention that we have quite a number of people saying hello in the comment section. We have someone as far as saying hello from Brazil. Shimilton. Sorry if I pronounce that wrong. We have Victoria. We have greetings from Santa Catarina, also from Brazil as well. All right, that's fine. You can see how our impact is spreading. So we go to the next question, right? Your journey really interests me, Jacob. I have fantastic question for you today to get you engaged. So I want to know, you actually started from a mechanical engineering background. You never originally planned to work in agriculture, but now you are doing something innovative in agriculture. So I want to understand that what exactly shifted your perspective to see coconut waste as key resource for industrial transformation and serious economic value. I also believe that you have done a great education with the science of agriculture from your material science background. So I read one of your posts discussing with one of your posts discussing the science of cocoa peat effectiveness with a global cocoa peat manufacturer. I'm sure you know him, Prashant
Yeah.
Ram.
Prashant.
How cocoa peat could be stealing nutrients. So I want to ask you, how has your background in mechanical engineering helped you transition smoothly and in building coconut to, and what have you had to learn to fully equip yourself to be capable in this your new chosen field? I'd like to hear from you.
All right. Thank you for that. So the journey started from when I was doing my final year project. So I developed the dehusking machine as my final year project. Then it was doing just 150 to 200. I mean, as a final year student. So after undergraduate studies, I go into an accelerator program that took me down to Lagos Business School, where I was taught about market survey and market research and how to build a scalable business model. So I was a bit curious about, okay, this is an idea that we have here. Is it something that we can actually implement? I mean, I thought about the solution as not just being a final year project because, like I mentioned, I'm not from a very solid home, I'm from an humble home. where I even had to raise money to do that project in school. And I'm like, I've spent over 400,000, I spent over 500,000 on the project. Will I just abandon it in footer and move on with my life? Even though I was working as a tech bro, as a tech guy at that time. So I thought within me, okay, what do I need to get this thing sorted as a business? Then I had a mentor. She told me about market research. I went down to Badagry. I traveled down to Badagry for like 7 or 8 months thereabouts. That every month from my house in Ikorodu, I go down to Badagry every month. I think I don't visit Badagry at all. I will go like 5 or 6 times in a month. So that was where I now saw the problem. Now, I only had the husking machine as at that time. Getting to Badagry, I discovered the husking was not even a cogent issue. There was the shelling as an issue. There was a lot of waste. That these wastes happened to be that the women in the value chain that remove the husk of this coconut, they take the waste to people that are drying fish. Some of them just dispose it anywhere. Like you go to some communities, you just see the waste just hanging around their homes, some their farms, and it's nothing is being done to it. So I saw women removing the shell of coconuts using chisel and knife. Ah, what is going on here? Why is it that there is no solution to solve this thing? I have a deosking machine, so I, related with some of the stakeholders, ask questions. I mean, one of the key things I used to say about that has worked for me is open-minded to learning new things. If anybody wants to get on a toxic or a very unique solution like that, I won't call it toxic again. I would say a unique solution like that must be ready to learn, because there are people that are doing something around that space, but they don't have the knowledge that you have as an undergraduate or as a graduate, right? So you must be ready to learn, and we can't deny the the procedures our forefathers have been using. We can only modernize those procedures. So I listened, I asked questions. What is going on here? Why are you people? So they told me, coconuts, we don't really have buyers, we don't have this. Buyers is another problem. These people can't access a larger market. So are they getting tired of this thing? Some of them are not finding it funny because of the difficulty. So I came up, okay, what am I going to do next? So I came back home to my house and sat down on my drawing board. I said, okay, I'm not doing the husking alone. I want to solve this problem. I want farmers to make money in this value chain. I did my research. I saw that there's a global demand. Nigeria is not playing so well in the global space. Indonesia, Philippines, even Ghana is doing better than us. I was told Nigeria imports 70% of the consumption in Nigeria from Ghana, Togo, Benin.
Wow.
What we consume, what we are eating here in Nigeria is imported, 70% of it. Oh. So the remaining 30% is what we are sharing between Badagry and Akwa Ibom in Nigeria here. What is going on? And the biggest consumers of this coconut, they are in the north. So then what is happening? Why are we not able to meet this demand? What is happening? What is really happening? That was what triggered my interest in saying, "Hmm, if this is a problem, then it is showing that there is a big light at the end of the tunnel." That was how I started. Then started with deosking. I had my injury from one of the deosking machine. Maybe I should say it. So I had my injury when I completed my deosking machine. I mean, the one that can do 500 to 900 per hour. I built a new one that could do 500 to 900. Then I had also completed my deshelling machine that could do a minimum of 240 per hour with 2 users. So I wanted to launch it. That was 2 years ago. I was about to launch it. I'd done over 300 coconut, successful de-husking of those coconuts without stress. I've met with the farmers. We've discussed no more cutlass for removing husk of coconut. No more leg pedal method where you put your coconut on the pedal and remove it. The process is tedious. So we have agreed. But when we're just doing a bit of we're servicing one of the people, and an issue arose that made me injure myself from the machine. So we took it off the business. Then while doing that, I discovered that farmers are also finding it difficult. Even me myself, while building, I had a lot of coconut husk that I don't know what to do with it. So I asked questions. What is happening? Is it that we can't convert this thing into valuable? I learned from Orange Corners that waste is a value if you can think of how to process it. So I was taught in Orange Corners, Nigeria, how to convert it. Then I now reached out to farmers in the soilless space. So I reached out to the likes of Farmer Sheung of Agri Wealth. I was also under Farmer Samson's teaching, where he was talking about sustainable solutions. What now triggered my interest? Okay, what? How can we convert this thing into valuable? How can we get the husk into valuable? And that was how we started it. Farmers are making money. At least the farmers we have been buying from, as at in the last 8 months now that we have been buying from Badagry, they are making money. They sell their husk to. We are not going to be getting that husk for free for a reason, and that is because we want to encourage farmers to get on the business, to understand the business and how they can make money from the coconut that they are harvesting. Not just selling the coconut alone now, but also seeing that the waste can become profitable for them. So that was how I got into it. I started producing cocoa peat with little knowledge. I asked questions. The likes of the big guys like Pransham of Indian, and some other great guys I've spoken to that are in Indian. They told me about. I read about how they process their cocoa peat in their country. I ask questions from even our local farmers. What do you people know about cocoa peat? Some of them tell me the kind of cocoa peat they are using, the cost it is, and what they are looking for in cocoa peat. I go back to my home, sit down, research, read more. So that was how we started getting it. That was how I started getting. I'm not yet solid. I'm not yet there, but I know that what I am producing today is meeting the need, the interest, and the quality that the Nigerian farmers are wanting.
Yeah.
So if we compare my pits now with other pits, you will discover that there's a lot of difference. Let me just stop here.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was really, really in depth. I really appreciate you going, down the rabbit hole, going back in time to actually inform us what you've been doing. And I like that what you did in the university as your project is carried on into what you eventually do with coconuts, right? So we have a lot of researches in our library, in the universities, that are not being practicalized. And if those researches could actually see the light of the day, you never can tell. They are going to help us to improve many of our processes, activities,
Honestly, many.
agriculture sector. And I love that you gave us quite a number of steps that you took, which is obviously would be able to help anyone seeking this audacious path that you took and that you are still taking, having a mentor that even directed you to conduct market research and you were actually daring. You were staying in Ikorodu and going to Badagry 5 to 6 times every month, and and what usually arise with this market research is that some of your assumptions, what you think is the problem, what you think is the needs of the people that you want, that are your target, will actually turn out to be something different. You start seeing different opportunities here. And like you said, we were thinking that, okay, we need a machine for cocoa oils. Now you are seeing that you need machine for deshelling too, right? And so I just like everything shaping together, coming together, and all that. And most importantly, the impact that it had on the primary producers. And this is lovely. I hope this continues. We'll still have more questions on the impact. I want to move on to the next question so that we'll be able to cover a bulk of the question that we have today. So let's get some clarification with the impact you are making with averting pollution for coconuts and revenue from upcycling them into eco-friendly bioplastic. So I just want you to, explain the science behind the odd fusion you often refer to of turning fiber into biodegradable pots. How this reduces environmental harm for horticulturists. The science behind this. Thank you.
All right. So thank you so much. So the science behind it is just knowing that Lagos State or even the world globally is looking for alternative to manage plastics, styrofoams. Every day we see that we want to start accepting or adopting solutions, right? Because you hear people say, "Oh, one of the biggest hazard we are having are from these organic material, are from these inorganic materials, because they are not decomposing and they are causing a whole lot of damage to the environment," right? So I thought about it. I thought within me that what are the better alternatives we can come up with. So I started the research. I started the research early last year to say, can we actually make resources, I mean, domestic resources from the waste of coconuts. So we start. I commenced. My thoughts were around, producing nylon bags, since Lagos State have placed a ban on the use of certain microns of nylon. So because of such biodegradable issues, so I thought within me, can we produce nylon? I started from there. I saw how we could do it. The process was quite tedious and, I mean, a bit lengthy. So I said, okay, let's just take it one step at a time. What about plastics? Now, the plastic came up when I now read about bioplastic, and I saw that Nigeria only contributes about 0.02% or 0. I think they're about 0.02% to the global space in terms of bioplastic. So even we say we don't have alternative. We are not taking alternative way of mitigating use of that's quite sad. But then I now thought within me, what can we do? Then I saw the fiber to be an alternative. Vases are there. Some people are doing produce. There's production of flower vase from the fiber in India, in Indonesia, in Sri Lanka. Why can't we do it here in Nigeria? Why can't we also see how this can become, can be used for our domestic uses? Then I got my machine, my defibering machine for my coconut husk separates the fiber and the peat. So it's very easy for me to extract fiber from the coconut husk and peat. So I don't have to stress myself saying that, okay, I am just having to start getting fiber. No, my machine at once will separate the fiber and the peat. So there's no
Wow.
issues
Wow.
in my production. So I have fiber sorted, I have peat sorted. So just go to the fiber. I have clean fibers that are just there, and the people that buy it are those doing biodigester. So this fiber should not be going. Can we generate value? Yes, we can. So let's start the pot. So I tried it out. I called my team. We tried it out first with top bond. We did it with top bond. It worked. In fact, something I could have shown you a sample, but we went for action and it was collected. So we placed it there, we did something with it. This thing is working. We did another one. That one, we even tried to put water inside. It held the water. That's to show that we can do this thing. So I started producing the machine. The machine is still under development. We are yet to complete it. A better machine that can solidify the product. That even when you hold it, you can use it to, because one of the inspiration is saying that in the modern days, our mothers then used to use clay pots. I remember growing up when I go to one of my auntie's place, in her kitchen there used to be that clay pot that the water used to be inside, and those water remain cold even in sunny period.
Mm, 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 mm.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know about those clay pots. You should
I
familiar with
know.
those big
I know.
modern. If
Yeah,
you
I
know,
know.
those things are biodegradable now.
I
And
know.
if you take water from it, it remains cold. I remember when I was very young, so I'm like, we can still bring such initiative even in this modern day world using sustainable solution. So I thought within me that if clay can also solidify, then that means this fiber can also be molded with clay. We have not tried it, but we are going to try it. That we can bind the fiber with clay to form not just the pot alone, but other products. So that was how we produced it. I did another one. Now the next trial we are doing now is to try it with because we don't even want to use anything organic. We don't want to use stubborn, because stubborn, I mean, still has chemical. Now we want to be certain that we can use what are they calling this, cassava starch, or so, just to make it biodegradable and organic. So when we talk about biodegradable, we are saying that this is total organic production. It is not having any chemical. It's not having any form of petroleum. It is clean and clean product.
Mm, mm. That's really fantastic. You know, something that I appreciate about every of your answering of my question today is that um, you have this mind for solution creation, right? Is what I've told you before. You don't have this kind of pity mindset, or this is not working, this is bad. Okay, let's just pity ourselves. No, you have to do something about it. You want to solve a problem, make an impact. And I like that as much as you explore the science of your field, right? Science of mechanical engineering, science of agriculture, you have this respect for indigenous knowledge, right? So what you are basically doing is blending indigenous and scientific academic knowledge together to come up with a superior product, superior solution. You mentioned the clay pot. I know about the clay pot as well, and I think that the clay pot also has this sort of property like the aluminum silicate. It sort of filter water, right? It pulls. I think maybe this attraction between cations and anions to pull
And I,
dirt
yes.
and pollutants to the bottom of the pot, right? Who would have thought that our ancestors, forefathers, our parents, grandparents, they have that sort of understanding. They might not be able to um, explain it in a scientific way, but they just know that
Yeah.
it does work that way and it makes water cold, right? So very fantastic. And I'm
You
going to
know,
move on with the next question. My conversation with you today has been really, really insightful, I must say. So let's leave the issue of climate change and how it came about. Coconuts, they are important. And let's talk about the deficit and opportunities in the coconut value chain. You are aware of this, that Nigeria uses over 203 metric tons of coconut annually. But despite this, 40% is wasted, and we import a self-sufficient.
okay, so yeah, thank you so much for that. It's just so painful that we are finding ourselves in this kind of issue, right? Where we have to keep importing many of the coconut derivatives. It's very, very painful because during my search, I spoke to some of those farmers. And yes, you are very correct. I am somebody that appreciates history, and I love to learn from adults, right? Because the day you deny the voice of the older ones, that day you start getting it wrong. And there's an
Hmm,
adage in our language. I'm a Yoruba boy, and my father trained me with one thing, and he says that even if you have the most dirtiest clothes in the town. If you have the like, I can't remember how to paraphrase it in English. If you have the worst clothes in the town, you can never have the roughest clothes or the most. If you have, you can never have the most terrible clothes than an adult or
hmm,
than an elder, because elders have experience. It's just talking in place of experience, and elders might not know how to communicate it, but elders know how to manage it. Now, we are the new Gen Zs, we are the new generation. And if there's anything that can make us go further, is taking those knowledge that our elders can manage and seeing that we can provide that communication, that solution that they cannot do. And that is the advantage of our academics. Academics is not for you to just get knowledge, it's for you to see how you can apply knowledge, right? So I work more with these adults, ask questions. So when I discovered, they told me Nigeria used to be a big producer of coconut in the olden days. In fact, many countries around Africa that are enjoying coconut today got seedlings from Nigeria. I was told about how some fathers then had trees, hundreds of trees. And this is not about those trees losing their product or stop growing. This is about saying that when those trees even stop growing, those fathers replant more trees.
hmm.
That was what was existing in those days. But in the year 2000, I think the person was telling me that from 2005 or 2010 thereabout, that those fathers, when they started dying and the children started taking it, all of them wanted quick money. So when they see that a tree is not producing, they sharply cut it down and sell. They cut it down and sell. They cut it down and sell. And that was when Nigeria started becoming backward. Then at some point, even our governments were not even supporting, because our government was not seeing that value, that coconut value or the potential in it. And this is in the place of, this is due to lack of knowledge, because I would call it a lack of knowledge issue, right? So those things have affected our production in this country, and that is why when people that are making good use of it have started exporting, we too we want to use good products. When you hear that coconut oil is the best for your hair, sorry, is the best for your skin, you hear that activated charcoal from coconut shell can work for your teeth, can work for your health, can do this and that, won't you be interested in buying it? You hear that some people say they drink coconut water because it boosts immune, and you encourage people to keep taking coconut water because it has been validated that even when in the one of the, I think in the World War, coconut water was what many of those armies were taking at that time. So won't you even think about buying these things? But when your country cannot provide it for you in the capacity of the demand, what do? You leverage on importation. So that is where we have found ourselves. There is the knowledge gap that is a big problem to what we are facing in the value chain. There's the knowledge gap, there's the lack of farming again, that is a bigger problem. Fall a tree, plant three. Fall a tree, plant four. I really appreciate, in fact, if there was anything I like Lagos State for, the fact that they promoted that you fall a tree, you plant two or you plant five. It was a good one. But in the coconut value chain, it is not being implemented that way. So there is that little production that comes from the produce. That is where the problem is. We are not planting coconut. Coconut that they are planting, that they planted, they are not replanting. People are not even doing anything to see that we keep producing it. So that's a challenge. So if we want to see that we top the game, Ghana, let me tell you what happened in Ghana. I don't know if you've heard it before, but do you know that in Ghana they have a coconut plantation, that coconut plantation covers over hectares of land? And in that same Ghana, if you enter the plantation to take coconut, once you are eating coconut inside, don't bring it outside to eat, because they assume you have stolen and you are going to be penalized. So if you enter the plantation, if you take coconut, as much as you take, eat it there, because you are stealing. Don't carry it outside. The moment you move outside and they catch you with it, they will arrest you. That is to show that they have created systems to manage that produce that they are leveraging on. So why would Nigeria now be saying that they want to keep importing? Because they have put systems that are helping them to keep reproducing. So that is the challenge. It's a challenge. We are not producing anymore. When I heard about Akwa Ibom having coconut, I was like, okay, if these people have coconut, then what is going on there? Then you now hear that in the place it is for, they don't sell the coconut out for masses. They sell it for, they just sell it within themselves. If you come with an innovation there, they tell you hard to adopt. They are not really ready to adopt any innovation and idea. Please tell me, how do they want to grow? There is a capacity, there's a production capacity in there's a 10,000 production capacity of oil. Akwa Ibom. Is it Akwa Ibom or Abia State? I can't remember the state now. It's Akwa Ibom, I think. There is a production capacity of 10,000 metric tons, a very big capacity that has everything to keep producing coconut oil. And this has been built for over 4 or 5 years now. But as the production started, why? Until date, I'm still asking that question, why? I've not gotten a tangible answer. Everything that needs for the production of coconut oil to meet certain metric tons in Nigeria is in that state too. But we are not leveraging on it. We are not using it. So it's not like Nigeria cannot stop importation. Nigeria can. Even the importation now with the new border policies and all, it is not even expensive to get coconut. Before it used to be cheap. There are trailers that used to come in, but the importation from border now has limited access, and it is even expensive. So that has added to the cost. And one thing about Nigeria is if things are going up, it does not come down easily.
Okay.
So this challenge is there, but the untapped opportunity is to say that we can produce here in Nigeria. The untapped opportunity is to say that there is demand for coconut oil globally, there is demand for coconut milk, there is demand for briquettes, there is demand for activated charcoal, not raw material. I'm not even talking about exporting raw material. I'm talking about exporting valuable product that can be gotten from this coconut. There is demand for cocoa peat, there is demand for cocoa fiber, there is demand for activated charcoal, there's demand for coconut juice, there's demand for coconut sugar, there's demand for coconut, mention it, over 100 products
Hmm.
that you can derive from coconut. There's demand for the fiber I'm talking about. There's demand for coconut yarn, the yarn from the fiber can be, it is a very high demand. The pot itself, it's also in high demand. So, and that is saying that we are not talking about the coconut fruit itself now, we are talking about the waste being in very high demand in the market. If you go to Badagry and tell them that you want to buy coconut shell, you would see how they will be rushing you, because there is high demand in metric tons for burnt coconut shell. Burnt coconut shell, there is demand in metric tons. So in every farmer now, every importer now in Badagry are saying they want to have this thing, but you people had access to the products. What happened? Why did you stop? Why did you stop? Why did you stop? So it is a call to everybody, every investor, every shareholder, every government person, to see that we can invest in this value chain. Is to see that we can start producing here, start being farmers of coconut. Tomato, yes, it takes time to grow, no problem, but there are hybrid coconuts that we can grow here, and we do well in 4 years. Sorry if I'm talking, if I'm being passionate about the problem, it always take, so let
No,
me not
no,
take too much of
no,
our time.
no, it's absolutely fine. What are we here for? To discuss about the issue in the sector, and you are doing due diligence on it. So I like that you're able to, you know, review these challenges we are facing. That is not making us self-sufficient with producing high quality, um, high quality value added coconut, products. I'm talking about the trees themselves from which the coconuts are gotten. We don't have this system for regeneration. Starting for our individual value, there is no proper transition from one generation to the other. I'm talking about family generation, right? Our forefathers, they
Yeah,
so
exactly.
valued all these trees. They know the value of what the trees can do, but we uh in this generation, we just want quick money. If I need money and this quick tree is done, let me just, it has a good matching table height. Let me just cut it and sell it out. Or when I clear all the trees on the land, I sell the land, right? So, and that is not, a good approach. And I hate the fact that with what you have mentioned as well, that the government are not supporting, you know, the sector, the value chain, and which you said that it stems from lack of knowledge, right? And if they had the knowledge of the opportunities, the untapped of opportunities, you mentioned untapped opportunities for local
Yeah,
production. This could create jobs, opportunities, revenues, and that they will add meaningfully to our GDP and better the lives of our people.
honestly.
And as a
Yeah,
nation, we have good human human development index, right? And and also the global demand that you said, not just for just primary coconut product, valuable coconut products. You mentioned coconut milk, cocoa fiber, a lot of things. And if
yeah,
only we could adopt this sort of measure strategy, we think as you have highlighted for Ghana, and which Lagos State is doing his own, cut a tree and plant tree, right? And if that could be extended to coconut as well, and if we can establish massive coconut plantation and also revamp the coconut plantations that we have, like you mentioned for Akwa Ibom, they'll have coconuts, but not having this limited thinking of just focusing on the farming aspect. Look at cassava, look at for rice. We just consume the roots, the grain. What about the peels? What about the starch? What about ethanol? What about thickener, sweetener? What about sorbitol? We have all these things, and these things they fetch more money than even the least value that we derive from cassava. That is
Right.
gari. Gari has the least value from cassava, and at the end of the day, gari um, takes toll on our budgets in terms of health implication. Talking about diabetes, gari is basically sugar and carbohydrate. When you consume it a lot, it spikes your blood sugar. Let's leave that aside. And the next question that I was going to ask you, you already answered part of it. But if you want to still go into it, you can just mention briefly. I was going to say that you should mention some of the value added product that we have the cassava in the coconut value chain. The one that we know we hear most of is just cocoa peat, as if it's only cocoa peat that we have. I would like that just briefly give us. You said that there are hundreds of products in that
They
value
are
chain.
over hundreds.
Yeah, maybe
They
you
are
should
over
just
hundreds.
10 of it, then
But
we'll on to the next question.
yeah, so I mean, the one you can see more in our country is coconut oil. I think that is the one you even see more everywhere. Everybody producing coconut oil. You see some people producing coconut milk. You see some people producing coconut juice, coconut water. Then you see coconut chips, right? You see coconut chips. You see coconut candy. Yes, there's
Mm,
coconut. Then they are everywhere. You see some people selling just the coconut water, right? Then recently, I now came across people now making food from it. Food like coconut gari. I mean, if you go, if you've heard of Adefolax, the mama is in Abulegba. She makes coconut gari, amazing coconut gari. I ate it last year, and I'm like, no, this is sweet. This is making sense. Coconut gari, because there is another one. Even they make a lot of nice bracelets, and a lot of nice product from the shell. So if you go to Badagry, there is Ondu, there is Alaja, there is one Ajia, there's one Ajia in Badagry also that does amazing products with coconut shells. Nice bangles and nice chain, even purse. You make cup with the shell of coconut. So, and these are products that if you go to Badagry for visitation, you go to the Badagry slavery point, you see some of them displayed. If you go to the market, you see some of them also displayed there. So this is saying that there are a lot of products. Now it's coming down to cocoa. Cocoa peat in fact is not even one of the top. It's just that everybody is turning down to sustainable agriculture, and enough is enough. We need to stop saying we don't have access to sustainable product or it's very expensive. Is why
mm,
cocoa peat is coming into play. Because every time you see people say because of the high cost, and that is because it is imported, the high cost
okay,
of cocoa peat, they are now using rice husk, they are using sawdust as alternative to the planting substrate that they use. But when you take a deep look at it, there is coconut husk everywhere that is a waste. All we just needed was mechanisms to convert it. And
okay,
some people have been doing it, but they don't understand. They are just doing it. If you ask farmers now that do you buy from those that produce here in Nigeria, they say no. Why? Because they will tell you some of it are not well buffered, some of it are not buffered at all. It's a challenge. That's another lack of knowledge that is affecting even the cocoa peat products here in Nigeria. Then that aside, there's cocoa fiber. The cocoa fiber biodigester. It's the only biodigester that have to be your customer when there are more products that you can produce from it. So if you
mhm,
look at it well, you will discover that waste is not even where the more benefit is. Even the tree of the coconut itself, is also valuable. I don't want to appreciate falling of trees. I mean,
okay, okay.
if we can create charcoal from the waste, from the shell, then why are you falling the tree to create that charcoal? So, so
Yeah,
quite a lot
yeah,
of products.
yeah. Thank you for that. A lot of product from coconut itself, and I know that it has this uh, is beginning to have this application in the beauty and pharmaceutical industry, right? For beauty
Everywhere.
products, for many of our medicines, our creams, and all that. And also, like you said, the coconut tree itself, it has a lot of products from it. Our brooms, is even a source of energy itself. right, without cutting down the
Exactly.
tree, right, and
Without
you
yeah.
make a lot of things from it. So I want to, move on to the next question, but I'm having this in my mind that you've been talking about Badagry a lot. At this point, I think I have to visit Badagry.
Please do.
I have to
Please
visit
do.
Badagry to go see what
Please
is
do.
happening there, and also shout out to those brilliant innovators that you mentioned that are doing
Meet you all.
great coconut products. You mentioned cocoa gari, right? Shout out to.
Yes, yes.
So we are going to get back to this your mechanical engineering background, where you produce this machine for deoxing and processing, right? So you've talked about it, you know, the building, some of the things that led to building it, and from your field visit to Badagry, right? So I just want to ask you that um, why did you um, resort to producing your own machine when you could import it, and the production of that your machine, how does it address the current crude production methods and moves also the exploitation end, that is creation of value added products for exporting.
Yes, thank you so much. So I would say that, I mean, even if I try to say I want to build all machines myself, I can't build it all myself. So might still at some point maybe still leverage on some imported one. But the truth of the matter is why we concluded, why I decided to make sure that I can build it locally. First thing first is local solutions is what we should be encouraging anytime in this country, because why will I go to school to spend 6 years, 5, 6 years as a mechanical engineer, and I want to start up a factory, and the first thing I'm thinking is how we importing the machine. I don't mind trying, I don't mind failing several times. I mean, I got burnt from the machine. This is my hand. I got burnt from it. And I'm still back to the same machine that burnt me. Why? Because I feel that it will be much better if we provide solution from our local base, indigenous solution for our indigenous problems. When I was looking at importing, at first I wanted to import when I didn't get the machine. The first year I didn't get the machine. No, sorry, the first 7 months I didn't get the machine. I wanted to import it in. So I reached out to the Indian guys, to the Indian and China. I said, oh, guys, how much will you sell this machine for me? Let me bring it to Nigeria. They told me the amount. I don't have the money to even import it in.
Hmm.
So I tried the second person. I said, let me even look for a cheaper price. The cheapest price I was seeing was little over 3 million. Then dollar now changed again. Dollar rose and it became 3.8 million.
Hmm.
So, and I thought within me, will I now keep waiting or leaving my idea at one side because I can't raise the money to import this in? So I went back to my, I mean, I'm still very young. I tell myself I'm young, and there's still time for me to do more research. So whenever I'm not getting it right, I call my supervisor, Professor Akinuli, Federal University of Technology, Akure. He's one man I really appreciate a lot. At those times when I didn't get it, when it's seeming like the thing wasn't working fine, I just reach out to him and say, sir, this is my challenge. What do you think? They'll tell me, okay, try it this way, go this way. I reach out to some other engineers that I mean I've worked with over time, and every one of them I appreciate them. They would also tell me to do some things, to try out some things. And when we try it out, we might get a positive result. If we don't get a positive result, I will go back to my drawing book, do my recalculation, and go back again. We try. It took me a year and 2 months to complete my deoskin machine.
Hmm.
It took me 9 months to complete my deshelling machine. Several failures, several try and error. It took me 4 months to complete our defibering machine. Failures, trials, retrials, change of materials, change of everything before I now concluded. And look at when I got burnt again, I was meant to stop. But I didn't stop. I took the machine again to a different fabricator and say, okay, let's impute conveyor into this thing. Not every man can think straight, and sometimes not everybody wants to try new things until they get burnt before they discover that what they are doing is wrong. So I said, let's include a conveyor just to mitigate any form of hazard. That's a new idea I never thought of when I was building.
Mhm.
Right, so now the machine is almost done. Before the end of Q1 we should launch the machine fully in Badagry.
Wow, wow.
So it is saying, and if you look at all this journey, all the money I have spent, even with the retire and falling and rising, has not even it has not entered the 3.8 million that they needed me to buy at that time. That was like 2 years ago. Now imagine what the 3.8 would have been as at this time because of the dollar price. So he's
Wow.
saying that I was interested in solving a local solution. Adoption has not been easy. It has been really tough. Because I got to realize that even our Nigerian people, they appreciate foreign solution than our local solution. There's that trust that is there, right? There's that little trust that is there. So, but the truth of the matter is, I'm glad that some people have tried it out. Some people have seen it work. Some people have come and witnessed how it works, and they have given their feedback. So that's to say that what we have done is right. It is accepted. It's not rejected. It's accepted. All we just need to do is do it much better and serve the market.
Wow, 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 wow. That's really great. I'm happy to hear that you are having good testimonial from people that the machine that you have created is working, and also that what you created, you have not spent half of what you would have used to import it initially. So, I was going to ask you this: that how does you creating locally fabricating a machine help to reduce cost? So this is evidence that if we have a lot of people, able to buy locally fabricated or sell locally fabricated machine, for the different cocoa waste, it helps to drive down costs. So, and I understand, some people that do not want to adopt that, is quite understandable that they want something that is finely produced, shining, is done well. You know, a lot of products, a lot of machineries, they started this way, but it will still get to is finely finished shape where it becomes a proper product. But this is where we there should be support from the government, right? We are seeing even countries that are producing this, doing it where they are receiving massive support from their government, funds, enabling environment, and you see places like Pakistan, China, India, they have this sort of um, um, production habits that is
Yeah.
shared by the enabling environment there. So sometimes I wonder why we cannot fabricate some of our local tools, local implements, and all that. And it never used to be like this before. We used to produce a lot of things, leather making, our boxes, our shoes, a lot of things, but there was gradual erosion over time. So on this basis, I like to ask you a question, in overcoming these challenges of, poor infrastructure and, able to cost effectively produce these machines. What you think the role of public-private partnership is, to ensure uh, enabling environment, soft landing, that helps to expedite, this process, make it easy for manufacturers like you.
Okay. So maybe first thing first will be that you see the government first give us that enabling environment. The partnership is very easy. Once they can give us those things that bind us together, right? Everyone will thrive. Everyone will succeed. It's not like we can't do those things here in Nigeria. It's not like we can't create more machines or more technology here in Nigeria. But there is that issue, especially when it comes to power, when it comes to security. Those things are things that gives a whole lot of engineers a headache. When it even comes to funding and certain policies, you most probably will just look back and say, why am I struggling to do this thing when the government is not ready to support me? So it starts from them putting proper structures that enables everyone to think and innovate.
Hmm.
Every young man, I can tell you for free that if you come to my school, I finished from Federal University of Technology, Akure. There are a lot of solutions that can solve problems in Nigeria that have been solved in my school, especially when it comes to engineering and electrical. But can we put those things outside? We can't, because there is no enabling environment for it, enough enabling environment. Thank God for Lagos State. I will keep saying Lagos State because I'm a beneficiary of the Lagos Agriton, Agri Innovation. And They funded me so well to scale my cocoa cycle up where we are producing cocoa peat. I mean, the funding came because they believed that we're doing something right in the coconut value chain.
mm,
And one of the things the commissioner is so proud of is that somebody is going out of his own will to solve this problem, right? And she was ready to support us. So it's a thing of joy to me. Now imagine other states to take such responsibility to say people are intentional about solving internal problems that can help them grow as a private body. I mean, whatever support they need, please, it's what binds the government and the private together. Support them.
mm,
I know power, no matter how much we keep complaining about power, it can't get fully better in the current Nigeria that we have because even our government too has seen how it is. But the truth is, at least we can get it much better when we know that we want to get things right in this country.
mm,
So it is them giving that access, giving that leverage, giving those infrastructure. If you go to Enan technology in India, in China, Enan, when you get to Enan, you will discover that in Enan, everything they produce in Enan is purely technology. Everything from them packaging lines are there. You want packaging material, they are there. You want molding material, they are there. You want fabricated material, they are there. We have such line too in Lokoja. There is Itakpe there. There is Ajokuta there. Those kind of systems will enable us to go and be buying easy and affordable materials that are locally produced here in our country. I will tell you for free. I'm being honest here, and I'll be honest here. Is that when I'm fabricating all my technology, I go down to the scrap yard to go and refine materials because I can't import in even those materials that I need
mm,
because of the high expenses. If we want to make, it's not like we can't build machines that will be so clean, but when you look at it, there are certain stainless steel that certain grade of stainless steel that we are supposed to be using in this country, but can we get those kind of material here easily? No, they are very expensive. The best thing you can do is import them in. Do you get? So for a small startup like myself or like every other body that are building machineries, hardly will you see anybody say I want to build it myself and get such clean grade easily. Everybody goes to Owode Onirin or goes to the best closest scrapyard and see how they can refine those materials and use for their construction. Now every other thing we can do is just to package it well and make it look so clean to meet the standard. But is that how we should be? So if we meet at that space where they are giving us that access, they are giving us that structure, everybody will play. For private body, we'll keep innovating. People will keep doing things easily. People will keep getting it right. See, let me tell you, exporting will be the most easy thing we can do in this country because governments are making the weight easy for us. Everybody power is easy for us to access. Good roads are there. Structures in terms of supply, locally produced materials can be easily accessed here. I mean, it goes a long way, right? So that's one of the things that I know can make everybody play together. And collaboration is one of the big things private we always do. For me now, to make things easier for myself, I've said I'm not fabricating myself, I'm not building myself. What I do is collaborate. So I partner with private fabricating company to get my work done. I don't need to put that because I am doing other things. So collaboration key. And like I mentioned, the Lagos State government, I collaborate with the Lagos State government, with the Lagos State Ministry whenever I need to do some stuff. Right? So it makes it easier for us to penetrate. They give us that leverage every time, every day. Should I even say I'm the one collaborating? They collaborate. How do I put it now? Okay, I'm the one collaborating because they are the bigger body. If I need to do something, I run down to Lagos State government and to Lagos State Ministry and say, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm doing it. Oh. Because they will give me that leverage to get a bigger market. The people we are marketing to today, if not that I'm in the agri-ton, would I have known? So that collaboration is necessary and it should not just be in the state alone. We can scale it down to the federal level. So that's what I feel can help manufacture, in fact, young manufacturers like myself
yeah.
to do well with the PPP.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jacob, for for that extensive submission. Reply to that question. And from what I've gotten from you, public-private partnership is good, but
Hmm.
uh, government support, establishing proper structure is important. Then public-private sector partnership can come in place, right? The government has to set a roadmap, right? And you complain about accessing steel to it's not like you cannot make the machine in a way that people would like, but the cost of steel, right?
Yes.
And it starts with our government investing meaningfully in that, and like revamping some of our steel manufacturing company. The Ajaokuta steel company is still in a comatose state, so it
It
doesn't help
is.
with establishing the enabling environment, right? And also that we don't have to wait for the center. When I say the center, the government, what can each state be doing to actually help remedy this problem? I like that you have so much faith in the Lagos state government. You know, if everyone can have faith in their respective, state government as such, I'm having a problem of this. I'm very sure that the state government is going to do something about it for me. You can imagine the number of innovators and solutions that we'll be having, when you know that
Oh,
there is an enabling environment to ensure that your idea comes to life. I was reading when I was watching a video by Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos was saying that, do we know the reason why America has a lot of innovation and solutions is that there is unimaginable liquidity for you to start anything and fail.
yes, now.
So they are
Hmm.
not even concerned whether you are going to succeed, but you know, just do something because they know that failure is a part of the innovation process. But here
Yes.
we sort of have not only a system where infrastructure is lacking, but a system that punishes failure. If you fail, we can't give you funding again. Maybe go and redo your homework or come again next time or something. You get. So um and I'm happy that you've been able to find a way to spread risks, rather than wanting to do everything yourself. You collaborate with those that have the financial muscle and, the technical capacity. And, all of us, we do something, you get your own equity from whatever we are able to produce that impacts, and also generates meaningful proceeds, right? So I move on to the next question. We've been talking about the opportunities, opening up the space, exploitation and all that. You've even talked about how your endeavor in the farming production space in Badagry is helping the livelihood of farmers, people that engage in that space, the aggregators and all that. But I just want you to, expatiate, talk more on, what it will be for the livelihood of the farmers themselves and their scalability, not now on primary production, but talking about the value added product space and exportation. How is going to impact them? Is it going to help them scale more? When we start doing all these things in massively, how is it going to impact their lives? I'd like to understand from you.
Okay, so how it's going to impact life? I mean, farmers will even be the farmers will be the big beneficiaries, and I'll tell you how. So when a farmer produces coconut, when he harvests coconut, first things first, he will have to dehusk the coconut and sell the husk and sell the coconut, right? Without after dehusk, so he sell the dehusked coconut. Now in the market, there is a fixed price for the dehusked coconut. If a farmer harvests 1,000 dehusked coconut, the farmer is selling it at maybe 600 naira, right? Sells it times 1,000, he makes his good money, right? Now at the other part of the business, we are now saying, okay, farmer, you are selling your husk again at certain amount. A sack of coconut husk cost about 400 naira as at now that I buy you, 400 naira. That is another additional revenue for farmer. So when e now come to export, even if a farmer export or he does not export, there is the demand already, because the local demand alone for those coconuts is very high. So farmers are people that are supposed to be making big money from coconut. So what we are now doing now, what I am now making sure I do now as coconuto is that okay, I have machineries now that will make these things much sustainable for these farmers. So it is now saying that every farmer now, don't stress yourself, make sure you are farming. Keep planting this coconut, please nurturing this coconut. If you need, Lagos State government did something with the Lascoda body. I don't know, I think they were also in partnership with NACOPSMAN, that's the National Coconut Processing Body. And that was saying that they want to support farmers with seedlings. I don't know how far that seedling have gone, but I know that they claimed that they were going to support them with maybe 500,000 seedlings thereabout to grow in different states, most especially in Lagos State. So now those kind of avenue are going to give farmers more plants to keep doing, more to keep nurturing, which if they successfully implemented though, I can't say, I only heard, but if they have successfully implemented it and farmers are having seedlings, that means like in the next 4 to 5 years from now, there should be high generation of coconut from Nigeria, because 500,000 seedlings, at least plus or minus, if all of them does not do well, let's just say 100,000 out of the 500,000 are doing fine. You know how much that would be in terms of supply, in terms of supply, 100,000, you know how much that would be. And even if they don't even have up to 500, they don't have up to that self. So what I'm just saying in essence is that the farmers will be the big beneficiary. Our de-husking machine will make it easier for them to keep producing. For the processors, we have more processors, we have more job created. Exporting will become something that, because we are already producing value from the product, it will bring in more money. Rather than just exporting raw material now, we are now exporting valuable product from the produce. So it is a different win again for processors, and it's a new job created for individuals, for the unemployed. Then if you look at pricing, we are complaining about pricing. Drastically there will be drop in the price because we will no longer depend on imported coconut. So but before we can get there, it takes a lot of time. So what we are doing is to make sure that everybody in the value chain are getting, the knowledge gap in the value chain is gradually being covered. And that's why somebody like me is taking it from the grassroots of saying I'm working closer to the farmers,
Mm.
because it's not in the hand of processors don't care. Their own is, if you give me coconut, I want to produce. Some processors are caring, like Real Fruit. Real Fruit recently supported farmers in Badagry, and she herself has been doing. I think she too has started planting coconut. Even coconut, I myself, I have 50 seedlings I am growing in Badagry. Our goal is that before 2030, we have 500 seedlings grown within Badagry, within Lagos and Ekiti State. But then we have started with 50. So everybody like that can guide. Even you yourself can also look at planting by coconut. Yes, you can be a farmer. Yeah, it's the truth. Honestly,
I
everybody
told you
can
I'm
be
going to Badagry.
please, please
Okay.
do. I have a plot there. I am growing 50 seedlings. That plot itself is too small. So everybody, you can encourage people to grow. In 5 years, 6 years, the result is going to be bountiful. And this is not for local supply alone. If you say you even want to do local supply, you are still making your money. If you now intend to now say, oh, I want to supply exports, you will still make your money.
Mhm.
So this is saying that the demand can never go out. The demand is always there.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
So everybody is making money. So that's just it. So we are there. I'm very sure that hardly will you hear people talk more about the coconut value chain, because of people don't really do that intense study. But me, I've taken my time to go and know from the nook and cranny of where this thing is a challenge, and see what can be done in those spaces.
Mhm.
So that is why I'm also encouraging you, please go there, go and also see how you can plant your coconut, or look for one location, plant
All
coconut.
right.
Let's push the coconut business together.
All right. Yeah, but thank you so much. I like that beyond you just doing something for yourself, you are trying to motivate others and trying to create a army of innovators and solution creators. Okay, I'm considering that. I'm also called the last giddy farmer. I farm too, so I'm going to consider coconut.
Yes.
So we now get to the penultimate question, second to the last question, you know, and we are preparing to wrap up this conversation. It's been a very insightful conversation so far, you know. I can't keep thanking you, Jacob, for the insight upon insight, you know. What can we do than say thank you? Right. So in order to improve our exports, and we are looking at three countries that are doing great, you know, from the from Asia that we can learn from. You know, we are looking at India, Indonesia, Malaysia. You know, doing great with exporting cocoa products, right? And are seeing meaningful proceed from that. So I'd like to ask you what you think the three ecosystem shift or policies, you know, that Nigeria can learn and adopt from those countries. You know that when they learn it and adopt it, it's going to propel Nigeria to be creating high quality standard, you know, cocoa peat and for exportation. Let's just focus on cocoa peat, right? What can we learn from those three countries? Just three things, three ecosystem shifts or policies that you think will help us with that ambition.
So when we look at in those three countries, we discover that one of the biggest thing that they do to help them out is mechanization. So I would say we should invest more into mechanization, and also I think another part of it will be that we promote urban agriculture. Urban agriculture. Then maybe the third thing will now be that the third thing will be that um, I mean, I know that taxation on agriculture is not really much now, even with this thing. So taxation has been so good because the new tax reform I think is not really big on agriculture like that. So taxing would have been one of the big things where we reduced cost on all we create a no tax on any of these sustainable agricultural procedures, right? So, and let me just take it from the first one. Why I say mechanization is that so country like India, one of the things they do to help their generally giving is producing their technology internally. All those machines they do. So the cocoa pit we are producing, if you go to a certain farmer, they will tell you, do you have it blocked? I used to hear that all the we get that all the time. Do you have it blocked? And I say we don't have it blocked. You hear them say, what we buy is blocked cocoa pits and it's the imported one. I now ask them, I say, why do you think it is the block cocoa pit that is better? They tell you, the block cocoa pit is better. Oh, that when they pour water inside and they try to solve, it used to swell and get big. And I'm like, do you know how these procedures work? They say they don't know, but at least it's what they have been using over time. And I said, well, we sell ready to use, buffered ready to use with good quality. The difference between my own and your own and the imported one is because it is not blocked. All those countries have access or they develop their modes that make it easier for them to transport. I don't have the money to start building a mode that can make me block my cocoa pit for transportation, right? So those people already understand, those people have access to transport all these things at a very, very affordable, at a no tax rate. Let me put it that way, at a low tax rate when it comes to transporting and logistics, right? Then the mechanization, there is a support for mechanization. You can, if you go to India and you check many of the factories that produce cocoa, all of them produce their machineries by themselves internally. They don't import it in. So any policy that will be coming that can help, that can propel Nigeria's quality is, and okay, yes, the third one, instead of that taxation, because Nigeria is taxed for agriculture, will be that it came into my mind now, but it has it just ran off my mind. Will be that we should give, oh god,
Yeah,
it came into my
you
mind.
have. Just go ahead with what you were saying before. Then,
Okay,
when that comes
the
to your mind, you
all
can.
right. So the mechanization will be that. So as I was saying, so they give access to that, that kind of mechanization system that makes they allow internal mechanization. They don't make it tough for their people to, just like you mentioned. So those policies encourage mechanization system, support people to build these things internally, right? Then the second one I mentioned was to promote agriculture, urban agriculture. Let everybody have access to these things, to plant, to grow internally. Let's create that system where we can encourage people to keep farming. This is not about agricultural study, this is about agricultural empowerment, right? Let people learn how to plant in their homes. Let them use sustainable, let's encourage sustainable systems in homes. It is rare for you to see any Indian or even Malaysia home that does not plant the least of its vegetable. Like, okay, great. Sorry, I went off for some seconds. I
No,
don't know if you
go
noticed.
ahead. I'm with you.
All right. So I said it's very rare before you see any Indian that does not plant the least vegetable. At least you check who you don't know, you just see them have at least vegetable or pepper or a garden. So let's encourage gardening. Let's encourage urban agriculture. Let's promote it. Let's add it as one of our things, one of the things we are encouraging, right? So then many of those countries are doing that. Then let's reduce taxation on make taxation on exportation very easy and friendly. If I want to export something out of this country, I know how much it's going to cost me to transport it out, no matter how good it is. So let's limit it. I know there are policies now, like the AFCFTA policy around transporting agricultural produce at zero tax, right? But that is within Africa, right? That at zero taxation, but that is within Africa. So let's see how we can encourage more policies like such to see that exporting from our countries to other countries can be very easy. I don't know if I'm making any sense,
Yeah, you are. I'm with you.
because that will help us to at least reduce it will help to encourage more people, you know, produce more and even sell at a reasonable price. I want to buy vegetable even abroad sef, but you tell me that it's a very you give me a certain price after considering all the taxation and everything. Why will I want to buy more? You get. So let's just limit all those things, and those policies around tax is even it's a tough one for even many manufacturers. But when it comes to the cocoa pit, the quality, the hair, yes, I've remembered. Standard, we need to build standard systems, standard monitoring systems. Yes, that was the third one I wanted to say. Thank you. Because see, sir, when I said that some people produce some cocoa pits and you hear that it is not buffered, it is, and you hear some farmers say, this cocoa pit is not buffered. It has a reason why. There are things they have checked to understand that this thing is not good for me to plant with. But you go to the market, you still see those things being sold in the market because there is no regulatory body to manage the standard. So even somebody like me that take my time to learn and understand some things will still go to my plant and say I want to make sure, even if we are not doing so big, but I want to make sure that we are giving out this standard that is globally recognized,
Mm.
right? So I mentioned that I'm listening to Indian guys, the India producers, because those guys are producing those things with a standard. Those guys, cocoa pit that comes from Malaysia and India, it is a standard. You don't go out of that standard. Is your pit meeting that standard? If it's not, you cannot even, I don't think they will use it in Dubai. Does not mean that there are not some of them that are not, because I bought one before. I bought one blocked cocoa pit, and when I checked it, I'm like, no, this is not even it at all. I told the seller, I said, no, this is totally off. And you are telling me that this is because it is molded, it's a good one. So we need standard regulations internally to help us play in that space where we are exporting to other country quality cocoa pits. Quality. So mechanization will help us Promoting urban agriculture, urban gardening using sustainable products will help us, and also creating standard regulation to manage it. Then taxation can now come in terms of every other things.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you so much, Jacob, for that. Mechanization, promoting sustainable agriculture, and even in urban areas, friendly taxation for exporting and building standard monetary system. I took all of that, and I want to speak on the last one that I mentioned, standard monetary system. It's not enough for you to just give a lower taxation for exportation of value-added products, agricultural products, but what you are exporting must also be of high standard, high quality.
Standard,
It
yes,
helps with
high quality.
a strong global competitiveness, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
I've used cocoa peat as well, growing tomatoes, cucumber, and some short life cycle crops at home, And the first one that I used was absolutely fine. In fact, I was so amazed that I wrote about it. I studied the science and wrote about it, how it enables faster, efficient, and uniform
efficient growth.
seedling growth that you would have for other mediums like um, manure
Or
mixing or
rise us.
and all that. But the another one that I bought, oh my goodness, in fact, it was triple the price and it did not germinate anything. I couldn't
I mean,
understand. And I started researching. I got to know that cocoa peat also has its life cycle.
exactly.
It has
Yes,
its expiry dates. And I don't know if they sold an expired one for me. And also getting to know that this buffered cocoa peat where nutrients are immobilized, they are locked, they are not able to be materialized by the plants, and all that. And rather than the cocoa peat being beneficial to the crop, is now being harmful to the crop.
go to the crop. Yes.
Is that unfortunate, right? So it was a waste of time for me then, waste of resources, and I wasn't happy about the whole procedure. And I like that, someone like you that understands what is going on in the space and what we should be doing is calling for standardization. You know, that is really, really very important. So I now proceed to the last question. So the last question, the best question is left for the last, right? So all the questions today they've been the best, but this one carries more weight, especially about you as a person and your company. Talking about the future of your company in the next 5, 10 years. So I'm asking you, what you seek, your vision for the next 5 years to 10 years for your company. Are you looking to, permeate bigger markets in Africa, globally, and what are the plans of your company to be a major driver of eco-friendly practices beyond Africa and creating jobs and opportunity? You were talking about promoting sustainable agriculture in urban areas, and
Mm,
you know,
yes.
I would assume that you are referring to Nigeria. But now, let's look beyond Nigeria. What is the audacious ambition of Coconut for the next 5 to 10 years?
Okay, so thank you so much. Well, next 5 to 10 years is in God's hand, and I believe God knows the vision is big and He can help us to drive it.
Mhm.
So, but then to be more realistic is that we have come to become a big player in this space, and we are not we are ready, or we are intentional about positioning the Nigeria and Africa coconut value chain on the global map. This is not to say that we only want to keep producing um, milk and oil. This is saying we want to keep producing sustainable products that can come from Africa. Indonesia, Malaysia have been players. We can also become players. And another thing is, Nigeria is not the only one that is lagging behind when it comes to these practices. We have several countries in Africa that does not produce coconut, but they are also meant to become beneficiaries of what these countries that produce coconut can produce. So we want to see that we can create that gap, we can bridge the gap of accessibility, right? Coconut.Africa has started. We are yet to go fully live, but one of the things Coconut.Africa is aiming for is if you want to buy anything coconut within Africa, we want to be that platform that can connect you to your seller anywhere in Africa. So we want to onboard, you are a processor, you are a farmer, you are just for the coconut value chain on that platform. So you want to buy tons. So the goal for the next 5 to 10 years is not just promoting sustainability, but also accessibility to the real coconut product. And traceability is key, right? Traceability is key. So we want to also make sure that every produce that are being sold or that are being bought can be traceable. And that was why I mentioned the place of policy, days of quality check, not just for cocoa peat alone, even for other valuables. Yes, people don't understand some key things that from some very important, some very vital things from this produce. So we want to see that whatever you are buying, you can confirm the authenticity, and that is one big thing we are driving for. So Coconuto is here to stay. Coconuto is here to transform not only Nigeria coconut value chain but also Africa. There are quite a whole lot of benefits that you can enjoy from the coconut value chain. And yes, gradually, with the right team members, with the right job creation, we can, get the right set of people to get these things done, not just for Nigeria alone, but for Africa. But we are going to the global space.
Yeah,
We are going
yeah.
after India and Malaysia when it comes to
No.
coconut.
That's the what I like to hear from you. I was not preparing to hear anything different than actually competing in the global space, right?
Yes, so
And
that's where we are going.
I'm looking forward to seeing you grow bigger, you know, than this,
Yes,
having more impact. Your story, your impact is one of the things that actually attracted me to your course, and I'm happy to be identified with what you are doing, and I'm very positive that you are going to go far. Um, now, coming to your question on where you want to be in the next 5 to 10 years, I like that, you know, you are seeing this whole thing, not just about just producing cocoa peat and selling. You are envisioning a kind of ecosystem here, right? And you're also helping to solve not just accessibility problem, but also traceability problem. Because we are talking about um, establishing strong standard, building standard monitoring system. So yeah, you're not even talking about it. You're also doing something about it, right? Establishing this digital supply chain and market space, where we have this digital identity, digital asset, for different actors and characters, right? And it provides robust information and educate players on the space so that they can
yes,
actually get what they are seeking, to buy, right? And it helps for a solid transaction because when this goes live, the marketplace that you are talking about is not only going to be used by
yes, yes,
right. So if they are able to use this sort of platform and they see that they can get a a very high quality standard cocoa peat. It's sort of where most of the producers will be from Nigeria and Africa. It sort of help to improve the image, improve the credibility, investor confidence, right, in the nation Nigeria and in the continent Africa. So I'm very very happy with what you are doing. I want you to continue doing that. I know that you are in oh sorry
I mean, that's Nigeria.
positioning us to do that very well, right? So and I like to proceed to the end of today's event, and we've used 2 hours 4 minutes. I think no, we've used 1 hour 30 minutes. We started 4:30, right? And this is 6:04. So I want to
Sorry. Sorry. Can't hear you again.
uh, hello.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I was
I was
having
about dropping you a message.
a bit of network
Uh,
connection. It just went off just like that. I don't know.
yeah,
And
I
so,
noticed.
just to quickly wrap it up, I was commenting on and commending your ambition. It's really audacious, and I pray that it's going to be established and be achieved over time. So, I want to thank you so much for coming onto the platform. It's really been enlightening and insightful from you today, and I hope to have you on the platform next time. And we hope to have a point of collaboration that extends beyond this platform in the future, to better sell your story, better deliver the impact, environmental impact, and also um, impacting the livelihoods and lives of the primary producers, and is also
Scan. Hello? Hello?